Oh, hi everyone. Welcome back to Marvel Heroes 2016 live stream. Developer, that was really disjointed, developer blog, part 2. We're going to be here talking mobility update. We're going to be talking about pretty much the biggest update ever that we've kind of had to this game. I guess you guys can attest to this. I am David Lee. I'm the community manager here at for Marvel Heroes. We have a familiar face.
Yes, I'm not Ben Gilbert.
That's true. We had a quick last minute change.
Yeah.
But you are?
I'm Brian Wagner, Asros. I am a game designer.
Mm-hmm. And we have someone who I haven't been on live stream yet.
Hello, I'm Ben Gilbert.
Yes.
Also known as TheArtofRawr, and I'm a lead systems designer.
Great. We're having 3 people on this live stream, and we're gonna be swapping out Ben for MichaelMayhem soon after we talk about mobility. So just let us know how we sound on the mic, if we're too soft or too loud. We're still testing these things out here, but we're going to be making it better with every live stream. So, but yeah.
That's the plan.
Yeah. So obviously this topic of mobility is very
Controversial.
Jinx.
Nice. Yes, it's very controversial, but like I mentioned before with our first live stream, these live streams are really to introduce new players and returning players and veteran players, just to really go deep into the mechanics and just the ideas of why these changes are being made. And obviously we really want to get the expert to talk about the mobility update, because
that's you, by the way.
Yeah.
The perpetrator.
yeah, because it is such a interesting change and interesting topic. So with that, I am that new player. We'll explain the mobility change, explain the change, why it's being made, and let's do it.
All right. So there are basically 2 parts to this. We changed the way dash powers work, and we changed the way travel powers work. So for dash powers, you'll notice that they all go a fixed distance at a fixed time movement speed. So before, if you used a teleport guy, you can go really far wherever your mouse is pointing, and you go there instantly. Now, and then compare that to a dash, which is you go in a direction, you go a short distance over a span of time, because the guy's dashing, not teleporting. So the way it works now is we took all those dash powers and teleport powers and unified them under a strict structure. So the way that those work now is they all go a fixed distance or a fixed duration of time. Sorry, Asros.
I'm okay. I'm tough.
Yeah, and they also have a set of counters. They have 3 counters, and you get a counter back every 4 seconds, and every time you use that power, it spends a counter. So, as opposed to a cooldown. They don't have cooldowns, but they have a version of one. So it's still quite mobile indeed. You're still going to be dashing around like crazy, but now there's a limit on those powers.
So then why would you limit me?
Well, there's some upsides. I'm not quite done. So here's some more knowledge for you.
You've been bad.
Yeah, so that's all the downside. We got that out of the way.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a downside. There's actually a lot of upside we'll talk about for that system.
Of course.
We also added invulnerability frames for all dash powers. So, and then we also added a CC component. So there's crowd control whenever you dash, or I'm sorry, crowd control removal whenever you dash.
Yes.
But that's parlance for a stun, a slow, any of that stuff. That we call that crowd control. So it's basically the oh no button now. So it's very good for getting out of the way of things, which is what it's built for. So yeah, that's the upside. There's also another note. There's a very popular item called the ziggurat, the artifact, and that is getting changed also to go along with these changes. It no longer will cause you to teleport. It now has a proc whenever you use a movement power to increase your movement speed for a duration.
Awesome.
So that's all movement. We'll get to why that's good in a second. Now the other thing was travel powers. Travel powers work a little differently. So I'll give you some context about this once I tell you what the change is. So before you could just press R and fly around, it's fine.
Yeah.
Now you have this wind-up time where your guy will play a cool animation where his bike comes up and he revs it, and then he jumps on and you can travel forever.
Yeah.
So that's how travel powers work now. There's a slight wind-up time.
Hey Ben, why do we need that slight wind-up time?
I'm so glad you asked, Astros. Thank you. The reason you need that is as soon as you limit the dash powers, your travel power in the old iteration became the new dash. So when we first play tested the thing, I went over and played Cable in an internal build, and I'm like, oh, I'm travel man now. I'm basically charging around in short bursts, and
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, well, we solved the problem, so we have to address it. So we did it in a way that preserves the function
Mhm.
of what travel powers are intended for, which is going from long distances from A to B very quickly,
Yeah.
without damaging the new dash system. So.
Interesting. And with that, all this new players, returning players, veteran players can try all this stuff out on our test server, which is up now, right?
Mhm.
And we actually had recent iterations placed onto it. And with that, it's really test center. I think it's been up for close to a week now, a couple. I think 4 or 5 days. Yeah.
Yeah, we put a new build up yesterday.
Yeah. So
I'm
I mean,
hoping for a new one either tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah, so all the stuff that we're talking about today is available for you to test out and for you to try out. And we're actually going to show some of it off in-game as well.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll actually switch that as we're continuing to explain, or as Ben continues to explain this.
Yeah, so here's why that
process.
is good. So the reason we chose to do this is because in a world of infinite dashes, a couple of things are true.
Mhm.
You don't need multiple movement powers
Mhm.
in that world. You only
Yeah.
need the dash if you have infinite dashes.
Mhm.
And we want to provide space for multiple movement powers to be viable in a kit. That conjoins very nicely with the constrained power bar. That's another change that we talked about last time, is that we limited the number of powers to 8. So now it's quite good if you have multiple movement options, because now you can slot multiple things and get around limits. And what that ends up doing is it makes two heroes have very different movement profiles. For example, Nightcrawler has lots of powers that allow him to do lots of dashes in conjunction, so he's not actually virtually limited by the 3 counters. He has this other power that has like 8 counters, and it's great. Whereas Colossus now feels like the big lumbering dude because he just doesn't have those options.
Yeah.
Instead, he has stand and deliver kinds of powers. So, yeah, that's one reason. Another reason is we wanted to find interesting ways to make higher difficulties better. And we found that in the world where you have infinite dashes, it's very difficult to design interesting difficulty play patterns, other than just killing the player outright if you catch them, not dashing, essentially.
Yeah.
So
Kind of a one-shot kill.
Right. So when a player can ignore positioning, that basically the only way to make it more difficult is to up the damage, basically.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make it have more interesting play patterns, and a way to do that is to add positioning back into the game, so that now we can make difficulty mean, well, you have to be in certain positions at certain times, and the only way that becomes relevant is if you constrain the player's ability to dash around.
Yeah.
So, and we haven't done that to an insane degree. Like if you go play lots of other ARPGs, they're much harsher than we are, but we still, want to limit it in some way so that we can make those boss fights feel really good and make you feel like you did something right and used your resources properly if you got out of the way of a hotspot, things like this. And now we don't need to one-shot you.
Yeah, it like before, it sounds like, having just to increase the damage because the only way we can stop you is hitting you once because we can get you through that one marker. And now it's like, if I'm a new player with relatively okay equipment, I could still rely on the skill I have and utilize dashing prior to just understanding the fact that I just might get hit once and just die, which is, when I think about it, not fun at all.
Right, and we want to add telegraphs to all that stuff anyway.
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
But right
They
now,
don't exist.
right now we're actually we're on Test Center. We're actually on Brian's account, and you can see him in game. So if you're in Test Center 2 in the Avengers Tower, you can probably see yourself on screen, I guess, on camera.
Yeah.
So that's
On
kind of
TV.
Yeah. But yeah, with that, we're also going to answer your questions in the Twitch chat as well. We took a lot of Q&A from our phone post regarding this live stream. So we're going to take your questions from that and also questions from the Twitch chat to talk about mobility, and then from later on we'll talk about the other big changes.
There's one other detail that I want to mention.
Yes.
I haven't touched on why we constrained teleporters. Teleportation was way too good. And teleporters being able to go that far means those poor dudes that have to dash around are just way worse in a world where we do time trials and things like this.
Yeah.
So it was a balance problem that we had to solve.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. Sorry to just pepper in details.
No,
a
that's fine.
lot of what have yous for this topic, as you can see. So
You're an information machine gun.
Yeah.
I just have rounds stuck in the chamber that I have to get to place. So.
All right, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about we just show off some little stuff in game, and then we'll continue talking about this. Once again, and take any questions from the Twitch chat, because we do want to answer your wonderful questions, and we do have some more mobility questions set up also that we took from our forums. So right now, You're on Nightcrawler?
Nightcrawler, yep.
All right, let's check that out.
My man Kurt.
See here, just teleportation stuff. You'll have to. Which powers would you like me to use, Ben?
Pick one. Any of them. They're all good.
Any of them, I like them.
Although I like Swordman myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like bleeds.
Okay.
And killing
but
bleeders.
if you want to show off movement, right?
Yeah, you probably want to do some dash powers and the teleport powers. So his SIG is pretty good for that.
Okay. We have that.
Yep, there's the 5 stacks extra, so he's got 8 stacks of dash effectively, so that's pretty fancy. Oh, yeah, some new stuff.
I'm afraid
As
I
you
cannot
press
do
this,
that.
The charges get used up. And his stick is designed for all the
I love that SIG so much.
Yeah. Well, he's gone.
Yep, Blitz.
So, what did you do change-wise to him to make him feel more Nightcrawlery?
Well,
You got it.
that's okay. So he now feels more like Nightcrawler as a result of everyone else not being Nightcrawler. Right? So he has a lot more charges than pretty much any other hero on his movement powers.
Yeah.
So he's going to be dashing around like a madman. And it will be very obvious since everyone else will be at the normal constrained movement speeds. So that's one major thing. But a lot of his builds are still pretty similar, right? He still runs around, beats people up in the talent world, and he also has his sword powers, which have the bleeds and then killing bleeders, and has the nice play pattern of executing bleeders too. So, yeah.
How I know one of the reasons why he was super mobile before was that he was also a little bit, and this may not have been the original design back in the day, but that he was a little bit squishier, and
Yeah.
so it gave him more ways to get out of the way of.
Yeah, he's supposed to be utility man, right? Like that's his thing. He doesn't actually need a big health pool. Plus, he's a little lithe blue elf guy, so he's it's very thematic for him to have more movement capabilities.
Yeah.
And if you happen to catch him, which is hard, then it's like and you get to eat Mr. Nightcrawler.
Is that still the case where he has kind of where he's a little bit
Certainly.
lighter on health?
Yeah, that has been the case since his inception. So yep, but now it's even more relevant.
So as we're looking at Nightcrawler, let's kind of go over. This is probably more for returning players, but kind of explain the what of the mobility change. So yeah, I'm a returning player. I haven't played since like say early 2015.
Yeah.
I'm jumping back into the game. What's changed?
Well, we talked about the what.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that pretty much all the heroes follow this new structure.
It's okay.
That's okay.
Live stream's over, guys. Live stream's over.
Yeah. So
I'm the worst.
never mind. I thought never
Okay.
mind. So yeah, you'll notice that pretty much all the heroes have that same new dash counter structure applied to them.
Mhm.
So that'll be the major thing. If you don't notice the talents first, that might be something that catches your eye.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be what most people find. But honestly, it shouldn't change your play pattern too much. Or at least at first, if you've played a lot in the past, your muscle memory might be a little messed up because you won't be able to just right-click for days.
Mhm.
But you'll notice that you'll be a little more careful about when you dash around, which might feel bad at first, but in the long run, we feel like it's a better, more entertaining experience because you have to be judicious about when you are in certain places and when you are in other places. So
All right, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gone. Did I break myself? Nope.
So a lot of people, definitely I think more than most people are asking why these changes are being made. And I know you touched about it a little bit more, but if I think you can go a little more detail and really kind of help, I guess, plant the seed to really help understand people why these changes were made.
Yeah. So we have big plans for adding lots of granularity to our difficulty structure in the future going forward. So we've talked about it a little bit with the difficulty slider.
Yes.
So in order to deliver on that, we have to make ourselves room to add granularity to what difficulty means in our game. And one major way to implement that is to give ourselves space to make different powers Thinking is hard. I feel you, buddy. You'll get used to it. I promise. It'll feel really good, and you'll get good at this game too.
Yeah.
Going fast is hard too. It's yeah. Anywho, the way bosses will be structured in the world is we want to have loud hotspots that you should get out of the way of, and those one-shot you, and then have other things that chip away at players over time. So like now being a tank is meaningful because now you can stand there and take it, and now that can be meaningful because now that guy can't dash, right? So we have to account for that. As opposed to everybody just dashes for days and whatever. You just have to paint the screen in red, which isn't a very interesting experience, right? We want to add different powers that feel different and make encounters look different and feel different. You can't do that if space is irrelevant.
Yeah, I definitely want to feel unique when I'm playing each individual hero. Yeah.
That's another big thing is that over the long run, and thank you, that's a very good point, is that now different heroes will have very strong experiential differences to them. And that'll just make us releasing new heroes more interesting in the long run, which is the goal of this game. It also introduces more choices, right? So like now, depending on how difficulty plays out, you might actually consider taking another movement power depending on certain bosses that you're fighting, because
or not taking a movement
or
power.
not, because I'm Colossus and I don't care. Sorry, no, I don't need Death from Above. It's fine. Like I've got my punch power and I have a build that says my health pool is the biggest of all, so I don't actually care about that. And that is now a choice you can make because dash is irrelevant now.
It also opens up more avenues for itemization too, as far as like
another good point.
We can before the movement speed affix on items was seen as mostly useless because when you can dash everywhere, you dash nowhere. And so now movement speed is actually a much more important affix, and so we can start building that more into items to give players more itemization choices. It also opens up cool things that we can do for the Infinity system. I almost call it the Omega system, where there's a node in there that increases movement speed as well. So if you like the faster play style, I mean, while you won't be able to really get back to where we used to be in Crazy Town, you'll still be able to itemize and spec to increase that movement speed.
Gotcha. A lot of people have asked this on the forums, and I believe the person's name was MDM Hellfire, but in the same vein, getting the same question from the forums, from Trauma and Samuron X is, are these movement change? Is this movement update set in stone? Is there any kind of wiggle room that you guys can see?
Some. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
The structure is not going anywhere. Dashes are the way they are because we have concluded that it will make the game better in the long run. That being said, we are looking at ways to make our heroes feel more experientially diverse. So if we find instances where certain heroes don't feel as mobile as they should within the confines of the structure, we're open to adding another counter or something like that. That's one example of a light touch, up to adding a new movement power or something like that.
Okay, so
the players have more options.
Gotcha. So giving more options, adding more skills, essentially diversifying their abilities so that they can, have more. Okay, so it's not just that.
And that last one, of course, would be in the long term.
Oh yeah,
of course, but yes.
Yeah, because
it gives us lots of room to work.
Oh yeah, because right now all 59 heroes are being changed and all this stuff's going here.
Yep, and we are in the thick of that, so you can go see that on the test center. It's already really fun. We're really happy with our results.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Thanks for the question. Once again, guys, we'll be taking your questions from the Twitch chat. We also took some questions from the other forums.
Something came to mind, but please continue.
And if you want, you can see right now we're on test center playing. We got Altiers playing Colossus and spinning around and stomping stuff. So you guys can go in there and check out the new changes as well. You're popped up.
Yeah. Sorry. So that is there are still a few bugs and issues that we're working through. There's a certain issue that we found with flight powers that made it onerous to fly through areas with lots of doorways. So we are looking at solutions for things like this. So that's a long way of saying we are still looking at making the structure that we have agreed on more fun in the long run as well.
Okay.
Finding issues.
That's great.
A related topic that I've seen is, hey Ben, you're making all these, the global you are making all these changes to movement powers, but you haven't done anything with boss powers yet. What is the plan for that?
Yeah, so we have big plans for mobs and bosses in general, and we actually have a blog about it coming out very soon, so I will reserve some details for that. But suffice it to say, oh, I know, I'm the worst, the actual worst. We are currently working through bosses that are featured in the chapter reworks as they roll out, so that's a thing that's happening. And we're also internally working through very large tuning changes. For example, projectile speeds globally, we were thinking of updating as a result of this change, just because before you have to have very high projectile speeds in order to catch people that are infinitely dashing. Well, now that the world moves a little bit slower, relatively speaking, you can still, you don't need those projectile speeds anymore. So that's one example. Down to the individual, so that's a global example of a global variable that we could update. Down to the actual individual boss fights of like, well, maybe we don't need to cover the screen in red at this point anymore, so we will update this boss to be a little more interesting and give little gaps. And we've learned a lot, obviously, from the many years we've been making this game, so we will be doing a pass on pretty much all bosses to make sure that they feel great.
Yeah, when in some of the feedback we've got on the forums, players are asking...
and not just bosses.
Yeah, well, mobs in general.
Mobs in general.
The players have been concerned about these changes. One of the things that we've asked is go out and play the content on Test Center. You know, go into Midtown, go through Danger Room, take some notes on heroes or on both heroes and encounters or bosses or objectives or whatever that may feel off or not fun, really, and you know, then put those notes in the feedback on Test Center, because we're reviewing all that stuff. So that's why we have Test Center. We're asking you guys to give us your feedback, and in return for that, we ask you guys to go out and, you know, we can do this, and we can sit in a training room all day, and we can test our powers. But the real test is, how does it feel out doing content? Does it feel fluid? Does it feel fun? Are there boss fights that just feel like impossible due to it? And then give us very specific notes. And so that's been fairly rare. So that's probably one of the most helpful things that we can get right now from players testing this.
Yep, and we really do pour over all your feedback. Like, seriously, we have a elaborate system built that we all read it, and everyone's has on monitor 2 the forums, so it's real life.
So Meghay kind of asks, you know, we talked about the bosses being adjusted to the mobility update, but is are you guys working on the path that leads to the boss to kind of help with the fluidity and the fun?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yep. Very good question.
Yeah,
and very astute. Yeah, we were looking at layouts and how they feel with the new movement.
Also, this update is no different, aside from the colossal scope and size, no pun intended. It's no different than any other update that we have been doing here for the 3.5 years that the game has been around, right? Like, we are continually iterating. We are continually listening to feedback and making changes, and this isn't like we're going to make all these hero changes and ship it and then wash our hands of it. So, you know, at some point you have to put it out there and get, you know, the more than just Test Center feedback on it, and then we'll listen to that feedback and we'll review it and we'll make changes that we think are good, and we'll go from there. So this isn't a final thing by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep, always iterating, always be iterating. There's our motto.
All right, let's pull some questions from the forums.
Thinking is hard.
Oh yeah.
Only when it's very late.
Yeah.
I haven't had caffeine.
One of the questions we got from the forums, and this was a mix from, I think, like Toby, Magabreath, What Death, etc. Asks, can you, we talked about before. I don't think we talked about before. Sorry. How do you plan to address the difficulties of with melee and fixed distance dashes? i.e., having 2 dashes, one to get out of the way and one to get back, and then opposed to people who use range powers where they just need 1 dash to get back?
That is a very good question and very astute observation. So we actually are investigating tuning relative for melee heroes, and they may need to be adjusted.
Okay.
They may need a damage boost now that space is much more of a constraint for them. So, yeah, we are looking into that.
All right, great.
Yep.
Thanks for the question, guys.
Yep.
With that, do we feel like the live stream has been mixed up a little bit. Do you feel like we should still show a comparison of Nightcrawler and Colossus, or we talked about it at length, so I feel like that could be sufficient enough. But do you feel like it'd be great to show in game?
Sure. Yeah. If you want to go to like Midtown and
Sure.
be a Nightcrawler and also be Mr. Rasputin.
Sure. And as we do that, we'll take more questions from the Twitch chat, and we'll answer more questions that we had on forums.
Oops. Dope. I like this.
Kind of like, I guess, a general question too, with the kind of the changes coming to mobility, more focus on mobility. Do you think possibly we'll see more playable characters in the future, like Quicksilver, to come into the game, like maybe more prominent?
Maybe. No promises. We'll see.
It's fair.
We like all Marvel heroes, so we're always looking for new dudes to implement and dudes to bring to life in our video game.
Traveling.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that Siberian Express. Shrek. The Shrek dudes.
I'm
So fun
looking
to watch.
horribly bad right now because I'm using keybinds that
Slow
I'm
sort.
not used to.
I don't know if we would implement it that way, but that's interesting.
A lot of people, once we did the mobility update, their concerns about how the vehicles handled, when you did do the travel powers. Is that something you guys are looking deeply into? Toby1 asked on our Twitch chat. Just the fact that some players say it does look a little clunky. Like, what could you say to those players?
Good feedback. Thanks.
Okay.
We'll look into that.
All right then.
That's the kind of stuff we like to hear, and we are looking for ways to make the game look and feel better all the time.
Stop being
if
so
you feel that
agreeable,
way.
man.
Oh, feedback's awesome, and I want to encourage everyone to give it forever.
All right. All right. And let us know, guys. I know before the sound was a bit high on the in-game volume. It's kind of loud here, but let us know if you can still hear us talking, because that's probably the most important part. It's really cool to see Asros play in game right now, Reich and Shop, but
Mutter, mutter, mutter. That's what I do. So you're not missing anything when I talk.
What is he
Flicking
saying?
dudes. Flicking dudes for life.
All right.
We haven't changed the turn radius on vehicles in a while. We could look into that. If that's the thing you guys think is rubbish, we can look into it. I think it's fun, but I'm weird.
I know, and we can kind of go to much knowledge, and once again, if players have been proactive with it, they would know. But travel powers before they were at 1,000 speed. What are they now at?
700.
700.
Yeah.
And that's once again the whole unity of having everything a bit slower but more challenging, and adding. Right?
Yeah, and also there were some technical issues that were surrounding that as well. So there were a lot of things in that change that occurred that. But that's the way that they were for a long time, and we set it back to that value for that reason.
That's a pretty good question. I see Chairman Powell ask, that's a good name. Are there going to be any changes to XP orb decay with the new dash constraints?
Oh, we're looking into that. That hasn't been.
My gut on that one, which is sizable, is probably not, because you still have travel powers, right? And so you can still use your travel power to get over there. I mean, yes, there is a wind up on them now, but it's, how long is it? Second,
yeah.
Yeah. It's not like the orbs aren't going to decay by the time it takes you to use your travel power and get over there. If they're like 4 screens away, maybe, but that a lot of these things are also to encourage kind of slower gameplay and to focus on taking your time and clearing the area and not zooming around the map. And that's
You can still do that.
You can still do that, right?
You're still
but,
zooming.
Things like how I'm playing right now and making sure that you're picking up loot that you want at the time is definitely an important aspect of gameplay.
Somebody's saying, "Oh, it feels like a lot longer." You're right. The gameplay in our game is very fast, and a second feels like a long time. We have to be really careful about that stuff. And we really do torture ourselves over these things, making sure everything feels as good as it can be.
Yeah, it's a lot of muscle memory. It's taken me still a long time to get used to not dashing around, but I definitely see, especially in story chapters, I definitely see the benefit to it.
Me too.
Yes. With that too, I do see a few questions regarding particular heroes, and with that, and kind of asking what the changes are. We have the TC forum, or test center forums, pretty much active in our forums right now, where we are adding pretty much patch notes with every iteration, so you can kind of really keep up to date with that stuff as well. So just if you have any particular questions regarding certain heroes, but I don't think we would want to go over every single hero.
That would take a while.
That'd be a long live stream, and
yes,
these
there's
guys
a
have
patch
a lot
on
of
every
work,
hero. Then there really is. Like every hero has a forum full of all of their patch notes, and with this massive change with talents, the feedback and all of the patch notes are sizable indeed.
Oh, yeah.
So I agree. Encourage everybody to go and check that out.
And what's great too is the fact that we have we have a lot of our actually dev team in the Twitch chat right now answering questions.
Awesome.
The questions that we either don't see or just pass through us. So yeah, continue asking questions. If we don't get to it, our dev team will. So thanks for that, guys.
Yeah. Also, there's a bunch of blogs on the forums if you guys haven't checked that out yet.
Yeah.
If you're curious about like design deep dives on this stuff, we wrote up extensive blogs on all the changes that are coming into this big, giant, colossal patch.
Many words have been written.
Yes.
Many, many words.
And we actually have a pinned thread that goes over all 5 developer blogs. And also there's one more developer blog in the works. Am I right? Yes.
Mobs and bosses.
Yeah, that's going to help complement the mobility update blog as well. So
hopefully that one has lots of pictures. It's fitting for that kind of a thing.
Yeah. C-Bus asks, I'm going to write a feedback. Will I see an answer? If you're meeting on the forums, or in most cases, I'm imagining you're on the forums. Our developers are working pretty hard. I don't think they can respond to each individual post.
There's no way.
Yeah, there's like pages and pages.
We read voraciously. We are always lurking. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't get to respond to everybody. We just simply don't have time to implement all this stuff and respond to everything. But we do respond when it's necessary.
Oh yeah.
So.
I feel like we probably could do another couple minutes of mobility. I really do want to move to the Q&A section of this live stream because we did get a lot of great questions.
Right.
Do you feel like there's anything else you really want to let the players know? Whether they're veterans or new players?
Yeah. You're going to hear a lot of people saying things about this without actually trying it, perhaps. So I strongly encourage you to go try it out. Go play your favorite hero and give us feedback about how new talents feel and how movement feels, but try to approach it with an open mind. And
that's great.
That's what we're doing too, so I promise it's good.
I do see a few questions, not just within Twitch, but on our forums about a possible dedicated dash button. Is that a thing that may be featured?
It is something that has been bandied about the office in the past, yes, but we currently don't have plans to implement a dedicated dash button at this time. Yeah.
But it's a
good question.
Yeah,
it's a good question.
Yeah. Thank you. With that, we've been watching Asros right now, Rockets, Colossus, and now it's Nightcrawler.
Mm-hmm.
Pop it off, nice.
Wreck all the fools. Ooh.
I mean, like, there's still like a lot of fluidity. It's like really fast.
That seems slow to me, but he does have to be. I mean, it is Nightcrawler, right? It's like you saw Peter. Peter has to walk places. The poor guy. But
he's not even like crazily overheared. I mean, this is normal Midtown too. So.
Yep. Still pretty awesome and fun.
He's gone.
Imho. Ooh, bug. Oh, there he goes.
I just want to ask a question. That's a great Twitch name, actually. He asked, so you guys aren't going to answer any questions regarding specific heroes? I think we can. Let's maybe within the next 5 minutes or so. If you have any questions about a specific hero, let us know in the Twitch chat. We'll try to answer it. But
do my best.
Yeah. Once again, for me, I wanted these live streams to be very, informative to new players, to returning players, because if you're a veteran player, you're on the forums every day, you're on social media every day, you're looking at all this information. So I feel like you're very in tune, and our developers are very, they have a lot of voices there too. So I feel like there's the answer you might have asked has maybe already been there, or maybe just can't be answered right now. So
yeah, I see MichaelMayhem hanging out there. So if you do
that
have a specific
guy.
question, he might be able to help you out. I happen to know he's an authority.
And he'll be on the live stream later. So
yeah, he'll be able to answer with his voice.
Changes.
Fancy.
I don't know. Let's say Durin W1986 asks, I assume Silver
86,
Surfer.
good year. Yeah, good year.
Just he's off 1 year though. It would have been an amazing year. He's just off 1 year now.
You guys are such kids.
Is Silver Surfer getting any changes, or any changes? Prior to the point right now.
Other than talents.
Yeah, I wish he was more specific as a question, but
Yeah.
I liked it. I wanted to pull from that.
Yeah, he gets talents too, baby. Don't
He's
worry.
being turned into a rabbit.
Oh.
Yeah, that seemed right.
Is
It's
he,
totally in
is he
theme.
still on his surfboard, though?
Well,
Absolutely.
He's Silver Surfer Man.
He's still
Oh,
surfing.
okay.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
he'd just be silver.
And a rabbit at that
Yeah.
point.
He's
okay.
permanently
A
surfing.
rabbit on a surfboard.
Okay.
We are on to something here.
I'd buy that for $1.
Look at the new Hightown, all decorated for the holidays.
Oh,
It's
man.
not snowy because
That
it's supposed because it's in Madripoor, which is warm
We're
and
getting
not
festive.
snowy. Yeah.
Alright.
So now all 3 of our patrols have. I probably
Charge
shouldn't use them.
manipulation. Yep.
All right. Well,
Michael.
MichaelMayhem just he just confirmed it, so we
Boom.
need to get some changes.
Probably not the rabbit thing. Though.
All right. Well,
No
Oh.
crossbow.
I think at that point, I think this was a very good jumping off point for new players and returning
Yeah.
players to learn about mobility. And obviously, if they want to learn more, we have our forums, we have social media. We're constantly posting. We're going to do more live streams, so there'll be more chances to dive deeper. And even though we have this update plan, in the near future, that doesn't mean it's going to stop there. It's going to continue to evolve and update.
As
I'm sure,
always.
as you guys would say. So.
All the things we do. Yes.
But with that, I guess we can probably switch to the Q&A section of the live stream where we're gonna bring in MichaelMayhem in here and we'll talk more
Elephant
about
treats.
heroes. We'll bring in a
Yeah.
little mobility, but we'll put Ben back in his cage to work some more.
To the mines.
Back in his
To the
cage.
mines.
But yeah, thank you to everyone for watching this segment. We're gonna have a quick intermission. We're gonna bring MichaelMayhem back in here, and we'll be right back.
Good to see you, Internet. Y'all take care now.
All right.
Bye, Internet. Oh, wait, I'm still here.
Five, four, three, two. Oh, hey, we're back. I should have said something louder. Hey, we're back,
Hey, we're
guys.
back.
Thanks everyone for watching. Our live stream isn't over. We have now MichaelMayhem.
I was looking at the template site.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I am not Brian Wagner.
He is not Brian. I'm very lazy with this.
We threw off the holes.
Yeah.
It's our fault.
Yeah, it's better production guarantee for the future. But now we have these wonderful 2 gentlemen here to answer questions that we had on the forums, and now we can also answer questions on Twitch. And I think we can still talk a little bit about mobility, but we really want to focus on the questions that we had regarding hero updates, affinity system, maybe a little bit of difficulty slider, things like that. So we definitely go over that. But yeah, let's do that. So
Great.
once you guys, if you have any questions regarding that stuff, please let us know in the Twitch chat, and we'll definitely get to those as well. But yeah, let's jump into a question regarding. Man, we're just so busy. I wish I had more time to organize. Oh man.
It's more organization than we usually have.
People have assumed that you and I have switched bodies.
Ah.
In that
Oh.
case, I apologize.
Well, let's ask a question I've been seeing a good amount more recently. And also, yeah, I can't believe I didn't mention in the beginning of the stream. We do have 2, I think it's safe to say 2 announcements, special stuff to show off, let's say. Really fun stuff. I don't think
I'm trying to. I'm trying
I don't
to
even
follow
know
you.
what he's talking about.
I don't
so
either.
so it'll be a
Okay.
brand new surprise for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
But yeah, we're gonna be showing that stuff off. So make sure to stay tuned for the end of the live stream because we'll be showing that stuff off. But yeah, so one of the big questions I've been getting, and I'm sure both of you guys can answer this, is, while there are, and this is what question was taken from our forums, and I was took this question from Strange Apprentice and kind of Super Jedi Master and kind of meshed these questions together. While there's are still 3 heroes left to release in Advanced Pack 3, is there an estimate to when we can expect the next batch of playable heroes to be playable or announced?
Well, we did announce Beast.
Correct. Yes.
And I believe we can hope I'm not wrong here, but we confirmed him to be next.
Yeah, and we said Black Bolt's after him.
Black Bolt's after him.
So that means
The
Nick
final
Fury's after them.
Nick Fury would be the final one of that pack.
Yep.
Timeline-wise, I mean, nobody is wanting to get them out more than we are. The problem is, we wanted to lay out a new foundation for the growth of the game, a brand new world to live in, and you can't really do both. You can't really build new heroes while also redoing your foundation. So we wanted to make sure we got the foundation right, and then we'll go back to accelerating through our new hero designs and getting everybody that we already presented in the advanced pack out and to the public.
Yeah.
Nice. And we obviously have internal timeframes, but we don't want to share those because they tend to shift based off of many things.
Yeah.
And so I think once we get closer to into next year, we may be able to start. I don't want to say like January 1st, but as we get farther along in this late winter, early spring, we can start talking about not only those, but who might come afterwards.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, it's a fun secret. That we know. I like this question though from his gentleman, I believe Grave Digger. Oh, that's the truck from like the show. He asks, any news on Asros rocking a man bun?
Nope.
No, just straight up no. Okay.
It'd be a long time before you could recommend, but
My hair is too fluffy.
Too fluffy.
Yeah.
Really?
It doesn't work.
I've never heard that before.
Ben could totally rock the man bun.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got, he's got
Ben
that.
could.
Yeah.
He could do it.
Yeah, and he just had a baby too, so it's like he doesn't even have to worry. He just let it grow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's his plan right now. Is just gonna let it go.
All right. So we got a question from regarding items, and I think Asroth can answer this. Is can we get a recipe to unbind unforged items?
Yeah, there's actually some changes that are on Test Center right now to reduce the number of unbinding recipes and condense them into, I don't want to say just 2, but I'm far less than we had before.
Mhm.
And we are looking into, so yes, it will be much easier to do that and more economical, I think, than current recipes allow. So unbinding Uru Forged is a delicate subject because being able to trade them, trade in rune-worded Uru Forged items, wow, that's a mouthful, is a little problematic because there are ways for players to acquire runes and stuff for free, and so you can create fresh new accounts and get that stuff for free, and then trade them to your main and put them in the trade market, and there's a lot of issues with that. So we want to give players more freedom on mobility of rune-worded, Uru-forged items. Man, that sounds like it should be a metal band. And so we're looking into that and looking at the different options that we have through the recipe system, through the crafting system. And we will probably have some more information on that in the, if not for this update, definitely for the next update.
Alright.
I would somewhat commit myself to.
And I'm sure everyone else will hold you to that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Fear not.
Yeah. We got a hero question, and I'll lead you to that. Like what, ma'am, with No Mercy. I just realized that's a pretty.
No mercy.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah.
I know you. I know you well.
Oh, okay.
What's up? What is no mercy?
That was like Nemesis.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Been around for a long time.
So I believe this is regarding Moon Knight. Is there any plans to further buff his currently meh at best damage boost from playing at his lowest health? Let's just go with that first.
So first we do the implementation, then we do the iteration. So Moon Knight has had his, I believe, first passive iteration, which restored his low health mechanics. We didn't know you guys loved them that much. Sorry. Brought them back. Last phase is tuning. So if the tuning for the low health build is not, the risk is not worth the current reward, we'll buff the reward. That will come. I believe I saw it at 30% right now, damage at 1 HP, which does sound a little bit low to me. So I would not be surprised if we go back and make a change to that. So do not fret, do not worry. Keep bringing your concerns up to the forums. We read them all the time, and we'll get to a second pass.
Oh, great.
So don't worry about it.
You know, I'm seeing a lot of questions, not just on the forums, but I guess on Twitch chat regarding about like costumes. They're wondering when the next costume would be, or they want to see a costume for this favorite hero. Is there anything you guys can weigh in on that, or do you feel like?
We have several in the pipeline. A lot of the modeling time lately has been on visual updates, which you guys have seen, and so we do have some new ones that we would like to get out before the end of the year. Several, I would say, probably 1, 2, 3, maybe, depending on how ready they get and what our deploy and release schedule is like. But yeah, so there's definitely some coming. You can also, in a somewhat related topic, the winter event will be starting later this month, and as we do every year, there will be new gifts.
Woo!
There is a brand new pet that I just saw the model for this morning, and it looks great. And there will be a new team up. Yep. I want to make sure what I'm saying is accurate.
I believe that's
too
the
late.
case.
You
Yeah.
already said it.
Yeah.
That's confirmed.
Yes, and so that will be coming shortly as well. And then we'll also we're going to do the however many, I think it's 14 days of giving or whatever, so there will be a new login reward every day, and we'll be giving out some of the old, the previous years, like Holiday Groot and Classic Doom. And
for like me who missed out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you'll have ways to obtain those too, which if you already have those team ups, that's awesome. You can go to the crafter and exchange them for an ultimate upgrade token.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. I felt like that was slightly different from the question I asked, but.
Okay, so.
No, I think you answered that.
This is not surprising with me, right? So let's make sure we answer the question, because I don't want to be the guy who.
That guy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so the question was about costumes. I feel like it just derailed slightly, but I feel like that's the normal case. Yeah.
we have I mean.
Yeah, and there's a certain
There's
sense there.
nothing, I mean, I think we will.
I mean,
we're
that
gonna
could.
show.
Yeah, something could.
Later.
Yeah, later. Okay,
in the
let's
stream.
let's go.
But yeah, I mean, we have some planned for the rest of this year. Again, all this stuff is with the caveat that it could change based off of a multitude of reasons. But yeah, we have some that we want to get out this year, as well as several visual updates as well. And so the character modeling team is working their little hands off. So there's
I think
not
some
really.
big hands. Yeah.
We give them robot hands.
Okay. Okay. Never mind. All right. The next question we got from our forums was from V3. He asks, I think it's a he. While we know the system is set to have Omega 1, 2, 3, etc., how many Omega levels are planned to be available at launch?
I'm assuming this is for difficulty slider.
Mhm.
So, for those that might be confused by the question, the final difficulty slider setting is called Omega difficulty, and it has multiple numbers that will be continued to grow as we grow the game. So when we scale up power level, or release new items, or create new ways of improving your character, there will also be content to match that by way of increasing the difficulty of your Omega level. That being said, it is likely only going to ship with just Omega 1 at launch. It might just be called Omega difficulty, and we'll introduce the second one when we feel like Omega has satisfied a difference from the previous difficulty. It's definitely a noticeable jump, but it's not hard enough for those who have the best. Or at some point it gets too easy. That's when we introduce a new one, and that's kind of going to continue to be the philosophy. Is if at some point enough of the population is just this isn't challenging enough, we'll get one more difficulty with even greater rewards and so on and so forth.
Is there something to compare the maybe that first Omega 1 system, Omega Live system, with anything that's comparable in game right now?
Yes.
Oh.
I talked to Psylocke about this yesterday, actually, for this question.
Great. I want to know, because I was
Omega. Yeah. And again, since this difficulty slider isn't slated to come with the update that's on Cessna right now. It's coming.
The next one.
hopefully, yes, in the next
Hopefully.
one. A lot of the design is still being finalized. So we're looking at for Omega level to be around where Cosmic Danger Room sits right now.
I see the question now. I didn't understand it. Yes, I got you. So yes, difficulty-wise, it is comparable to what is generally the hardest content in the game, which is Cosmic Danger Room.
Gotcha.
But I know there are people out there that please do Cosmic Danger Room.
Yep.
And you know who you are. You talked to me about it. And that this will add Omega 2 will add a new challenge even for those guys. So, you know, when that comes around, you'll have a equal and adequate challenge to go to.
Okay. All right. Great. And I know Psylocke, both on the forums, and I think he said somewhere on the live stream that he would be on this live stream. Like, because I remember, I think Asros asked the question, is he a boy or a robot or something?
I didn't ask that. He posed that.
Oh, he posed that.
I don't think he's sure.
Okay.
He's a GoBot.
And and I remember him saying that he'd be on this live stream, but where is he right now? I don't see him.
He had a mechanical failure, and we had to
Sure.
put him into the shop.
He's getting troubleshooting.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think all of you should
Send
give
him
him
to QA.
give him some flack for that.
It's Westworld job.
On the forum. Oh, I heard the last. Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard the last episode was really good, or the season
Spoilers.
finale, whatever it was. Besides that, let's go with the toughest question that I've got on the forums. I hope you guys can answer this. All right, let's get ready.
Not it.
It's from Kitty Attack. I
Oh,
appreciate that
no,
name.
no.
It's, this person asks, I can't say he or she, I don't know. Can we
It's a
keep...
He, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can we keep Mr. Fantastic super OP just like the way he is on TC right now?
Sure. Next.
Sorry. Nope.
No.
I'll say there's actually probably several
To
heroes.
the ground.
Who are OP, very much so. I know of a few people have reported, and this is part of Test Center. You get to enjoy the crazy, swingy changes when we make, radical iteration and we take them to the ceiling. At some point, they have to be brought down. One I know that's on the chopping block is last time we Psylocke, her psionic barrier, pretty much did nothing. And then we made a whole bunch of radical changes, and now it almost never drains at all. So we swung the pendulum too far that way. We're going to dial it back a little bit.
Sounds like a robot might have done something with that we may have talked about earlier.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, this is what happens with the iteration. You make changes that you think will improve the gameplay and improve the fun factor of the character, and you get to the tuning after you've had people go out in the wild and experience it with different content, to make sure that the tuning changes you make are going to be good for the character, and not cause them to go on like I said, the other side of the pendulum BOP. There are other characters that are going to be subject to other reductions before we ship them, so don't get too attached to anybody who is super broken OP. Just saying. Mr. Fantastic included, Kitty Attack ship.
That's fair.
I don't actually know if he's OP, but I imagine he is.
Just want to bouncy ball everything.
You can totally bouncy ball everything. But I think it's something to do with his big laser gun is just obliterating things.
That's what big laser guns do, though.
That's true. It probably just obliterates too. The obliteration scale is probably like 30%.
It's like Omega, right? So it's at like obliteration 5.
Yeah.
When it should be at like obliteration 3 or 2.
Three and a half.
Yeah. That's how we tune.
Thank you guys, and thank you Kitty Attack for that question. And then I got confirmation from Twitch chat that Kitty Attack's a girl, or she.
He's not.
Oh, okay.
I raid with the guy.
Oh, really?
Used to be on, I believe,
On
Jungle
Brevik
Queen's
stream,
stream every
yeah.
now and then. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then
Nobody's getting fooled here.
Yeah,
The world's biggest
except myself.
troll.
Yeah. Okay. All
And
right.
I say that I love the guy,
Yeah.
but give him crap.
All right. We
I'm
got
not just a jerk.
we got a lot of these.
I love how you have to justify.
Yeah.
I see myself out.
We love you.
Good
Yeah.
times. So we got a question in this vein a lot, but I'm going to pull it from Clockwork Bard's question and ask: are there plans to bring summons back into the attributes and trait system in some capacity, since they do not benefit from base damage gained from the primary attributes on your O trait?
It's like there are microphones in the office.
This is a very difficult one for me to answer because I saw this question yesterday when you linked me this Q&A here,
Yeah.
and I had an answer prepared, and then I didn't like that answer, and I went, we shouldn't do that. We should go. I went to talk to Psylocke just an hour ago.
That's why he's in the
And-
shop now. He didn't like the
and
answer.
went, can we actually change like the back end of this and make it not scale the same way. And so anyway, we're actually actively looking at maybe possibly altering the scaling of how summons work. I'm not going to go into any more detail than that because I don't want to promise anything.
Sure.
Promise.
Safe.
But we recognize that if I were to look at the global scheme of Test Center, in terms of tuning, summoners are the most talked about as a problem, and that is something that is at least global. Therefore, a global fix will change. A global change will fix it.
Okay.
And we are thinking about that global change. That's all I'm going to say on it right now.
Let me know
Yes,
how
your
that
feedback, your feedback is being heard, and yes, you are the next. In fact, I believe I will even say right after I got done talking to Silac, I went, I'm not going to talk to Brian about this yet because he has to go stream, but I have to go talk to him immediately as soon as the stream ends.
Yep.
About this.
All right, great. I'm getting a few questions about Rogue. Do you feel like we can talk about Rogue?
Sure.
Like any iterations that are planned, or
We just did a pretty big one on Rogue, and I think she's in a pretty good spot now. Before we had said her stolen power mechanics made it so that she didn't need talents, or their talents. More accurately, talents wouldn't be able to support her infinite builds. Like we would be pigeonholing people too much. And people disagreed, and they actually came up with some good ideas for talents that were simple and straightforward that just kind of globally helped finalize her in a direction. That, like, by themselves, they didn't really push you in any one direction, but they helped hammer home. Like, for example, if you want to make a straight mental rogue, you still had an energy damage signature, which is a very big portion of your, like, DPS. And so someone said, why don't you have a talent that can let you switch the signature's damage to mental? And that's really all it does.
What?
And I'm like, oh, that actually makes sense. It doesn't really, push you in any direction. It doesn't say you now have to build full mental. It just says it's there if you want it. So we gave her some talents, not all, and they're very simple. We also increased her passive count back to 3, which was the amount it was on live. And under the restriction that there's only one secondary resource passive can be applied. So you can't have both Juggernaut's momentum and Colossus's armor because those two conflict. They take the same spot in the box. So you can't have both of those. We can't have 3 passives. That being said, the moment we did that, she became broken, and we're gonna probably be nerfing all of her passives, just so you know, because they were tuned assuming you could go back to 1. So expect some reductions on some of the more problematic ones. And people have been reporting that in test centers. It's probably no surprise that we have to do that.
all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Another question I'll just generalize, but a lot of people on the forum asked, and I think at Twitch as well, is achievements that are kind of tied to, once this update happens, it's very possible they might not be able to get these achievements anymore. Is there something that we can do to help compensate the players for those?
Oh, there are certain, I think, time trial-based achievements that definitely will be addressing.
Mhm.
The tricky one is the achievements. There's a lot of achievements out there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So maybe it would be a good idea to make a thread on this on TC. That's just report problematic achievements that you can't get anymore. Is that
I've
what you
been
think?
on that.
Is that what you think?
Yep, we're tracking all these. We had some very very motivated players who gave us a lot of ones that seemed to be difficult to do with either changes or with powers changes or other changes. And so we have all those documented and we have changes in place. I think I want to say that there are a lot of those changes are already on Test Center. I'll have to verify after we get out of here that all of those have been put on Test Center. I believe so. So yeah, there's 2 buckets of this. There's achievements that will be changing due to other changes in the game, and then another topic that might be part of this is achievements that may eventually be going away due to things like the changes to uniques, where we're going to be moving to Omega items, stuff like that. So the unique changes and associated achievement changes with that, when we get closer to, those are all coming in not this release that we're talking about now, but the one after that. And as we get closer to that, we will have, we'll put out a list of what's changing with them and get feedback, and then it'll also be on Test Center when we put that release up for testing too, and we can get feedback on all that stuff too to make sure that that we're doing what we can.
Okay, awesome. I think I'm gonna take maybe 1 or 2 more questions from the forums, and then I think I might do like 10-15 minutes if you guys have time, just to take questions from the chat, because
Okay.
I see a lot of them, and then we'll probably end it there, or we'll show off some cool stuff, and then we'll end it there. Kind of a question from our forums is asking, and just kind of general broad, and feel free to to do whatever you wish with it. But it's what was the theory behind the talent system?
So I read this question. I actually want to read exactly what he asked
Okay,
because
sure.
I like the question. It says, from what I understand, it's to promote choice in build paths. But don't you think that with a large portion of talents being tailored to a specific build, it actually creates less choice? That's a great question. And I want to explain that by referencing what talents used to be, which is specializations and the criticism behind specializations. So we would have, for example, a character might have a choice of 3, and we would very clearly pack a bunch of melee affixes in one, a bunch of ranged affixes in the second one, and maybe some area or movement or a third niche build, maybe a hybrid build, and toss all those in the third choice. And that is less choice. That is saying, do you want to play character A, B, or C? We made these builds for you. Please pick one.
That's false choice.
That's I mean, it's a real choice, but it's not much of a choice.
Yeah.
And even when we took, if those 3 specializations had so many affixes that we could just explode them out into a whole bunch of different choices, even though we may keep, generally one column as ranged, that by itself, being split up, lets you have more free choice. One of the criticisms of specializations would say, I really like Unibeam from Iron Man, but I really don't really want a range build. I just like that power. I want to keep it in my rotation. I want it to have this awesome affix that the specialization has, but I want to use these other things too. And now you can do that. You can pick and choose and say, I want to use a little from column A, a little from column B, and I want this utility thing over here. You don't have to go straight down the tree.
All right. I mean, that's great. I mean, like the answer I had in my head was, I felt it would be a bit more strict, but I felt like, I guess since he kind of followed up with that question, really, like you were able to really kind of flesh it out. Would it be crazy if I asked you guys to switch seats?
No, sure.
Yes.
I feel like we changed the live stream a little bit to accommodate
And now my
certain
name-
things, and now we can actually make it so everyone's sitting in the right spot.
My nameplate is correct now.
All right. And I want, for the next live stream, I do want to have your name not be your name, but have it be William Fisk. I like that. Okay. We'll probably do one more question from the forums, and then I would want to grab a lot of questions from the Twitch chat, guys. So if you have any questions regarding about the biggest update we're having ever, let us know in the Twitch channel. We'll definitely try to get a few of those answered, and then we're gonna show off some cool stuff for you guys to see. So, great. With that,
Any other great questions from the forums?
there is a lot of great questions.
I'll have to narrow it down to just one.
Just
the best
one, the
one.
best.
Choose carefully.
Your life depends on it.
Oh no! Is there like a laser pointed to my head? Game. I think this is kind of apt. This question is a bit general, but it's the question essentially goes: after you guys have the powers, items, and difficulties updates set, is it going to be easier / faster to create new game modes? How is the overall updates going to impact this process? I guess. I kind of like what TheArtofRawr was talking about before, how the mobility update is to kind of really make everything better. It's for the better, and now it's what people see it as is a hindrance, or they see that they're losing their game, but in reality we're making the game even better for them by adding challenges, making more choices for them. Do you feel like in that same kind of vein this update is for that stuff too?
Well, I think the question pertained to the ability to create content. And
Yeah.
And I think when it should be clear, when we create a new hero, before they were all freeform, and we gave them maybe a new resource, maybe specializations, maybe they didn't. Electra, I think, didn't have specializations when she first was released to the public on Test Center. It's very open-ended, and by having a little, just a little bit of structure there, it will help to let us create content a little bit faster in regards to hero design. But more importantly, we can build content. I won't necessarily say faster, but we will be able to create content better when we have something like the difficulty slider in place. And we have heroes tuned to where they can have a challenge and not be able to evade absolutely everything that is in that area. We'll be able to make things like a great example is Danger Room. One of the Danger Room's benefits was that it could be reusable. We could keep adding on to it. But the problem is the content gets burned so fast that it doesn't really make sense to go through and add more to it when we could spend that time changing the foundations to make the content better for us. maybe doesn't make sense to an observer, but I don't know if I can word it any better than that.
Yeah.
One of the hardest parts of releasing new content is tuning the content.
Yes.
Because especially in something where you, like, if you take Danger Room, where that has technically 5 different difficulties, or you look at something like new event content, like we did the Dark Dimension event, where we added the invaded Times Square. If you were here in the office, you'll see myself and Psylocke butting heads all the time about it should be more difficult, it should be more accessible, and it's like great taste, less filling, and we just keep going back and forth. And because the thing with content and content difficulty is there are so many different levels of player skill and what players find fun. There are some players that love super difficult content, and they don't mind that, you know, they're fighting a boss and they keep dying, but they really like the challenge of defeating that boss. There's some people like me who don't find that sort of gameplay fun. Like, I want to feel strong and that I'm invincible, which then translates into how do you reward players for the level of content difficulty? Because if you use the same level of rewards for, you know, let's say we do a normal and a cosmic version of a terminal, you have to build those rewards separately. And my biggest question is, as a item and reward designer, is trying to find out what is the commensurate reward for the difficulty of the content. And that has been a super difficult thing to pin down. Now with difficulty slider, it will be a lot easier. I don't want to say easier, but it's a lot more clear for us to say, okay, we know the difference in difficulty between these different levels, so we can tailor rewards that way. And it'll also just completely, well, hopefully, the plan is that it will shrink down the amount of time it takes to tune new content.
Continue.
Okay, great.
Say no? Okay.
Okay. I got a question
Sorry.
here from Chatman Jay. So we're just going to be taking questions from Twitch chat right now.
He just drew like a smiley face. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it's a little off.
Yeah.
So we'll just take a question from Twitch chat and then we'll show off the cool stuff that we have. So Chatman Jay asks, are there any more iterations or changes coming to heroes like Thor and
Oh yeah, Thor
Angela? Yeah.
Thor has another big batch of changes coming the next TC build. We will continue to iterate right up until we launch it.
Is there more or less smiting?
There is too much smiting. I post on Twitter. I think it's like 30% too much smiting.
Being over-smoked.
They're saying Angela, there hasn't been much iteration done to her at all, and you can see that she was the newest hero. But
for heroes that have not had absolutely any action items done, there's a chance we haven't looked at them. There's also a chance that we looked at the feedback and saw not much to do in terms of they were already well satisfied. Like I remember looking through Hulk recently, and Hulk's feedback was very positive. He has some things we can do, but mostly we're focusing on the heroes that have much more negative reaction or have more serious flaws that we need to take care of. I wouldn't be surprised if we did a few things to Angela, but I wouldn't expect massive scale changes.
Gotcha.
You're also not just building new powers for the sake of new powers.
Right.
Yeah.
Every new power that we're making for certain characters is because they're missing something in the kit. One example was, I can't remember who it was, but someone said, I want a new range power, and I couldn't figure out why. I was like, why do you want a new range power? What does it add? And then they showed me the exact build that they were using. And they said, this button I can't find anything to put there. And I'm like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. Yeah, well, let's make a new power for that. Or modify an existing power to make it into a cooldown layer or something like that.
Or build a talent that changes the power.
With that.
Fair. I'm getting a lot of questions about raids. I won't go into specifics, but raids?
So raids.
They're a thing.
They're a thing. We have plans for them. There is an internal build in which you can check out something. I hope people do.
Not you.
Not you guys.
He's like saying.
I'm looking ahead.
Yeah.
You.
We want to change them because difficulty slider is sort of conflicting with them, but we're not going to go into any details right now. We have hinted at changes to them in the past. Right now, those plans are still true. There's still the plan, but they might change. I would like to see it happen. But
I
that's,
feel
all,
like
that's
we're
all I
the-
can really say. I don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
get myself in trouble.
We're
if
like
I
the
say too
two
much.
Trade Federation guys now. At the beginning of the Phantom Menace, we're like, no need to report unless there's something to report.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
That jam.
yeah.
Yeah.
We know that there are lots of people who like raids, and then we know that, we like raids.
I like fighting giant things.
Yeah,
It's fun.
we also like raids that are a challenge, and that give commensurate rewards for that challenge. And that's, I think, where the struggle lies right now, because with power creep and other stuff, the raids that we have, the real challenge is getting the amount of people to go in and do it.
There's also like certain encounters are going to have to change as a result of the other changes to the game.
Mhm.
One example, the very first encounter in Muspelheim requires you to travel back and forth between two bosses. Like we probably have to check the tuning on that and make sure that it is still easily doable. I'm sure it is, because you can just travel power back and forth. But it's things like that we definitely have to check out. But overall, I would expect some changes to raids. I'm not going to say
Future.
when, but hopefully
Future time, yeah.
early next year.
I will commit to this, and I don't feel bad doing it.
Okay.
In the we need a name for the second release. We can't use the internal name
This
because
whole time I didn't realize there was a Twitch chat right next to me.
That's
I
why I
was
put it
trying
there.
to
Yeah,
look
it's
way
really
over
nice.
there.
It's really nice.
So we'll say not the one that's on Test Center, the upcoming one, whatever. We'll call them Release 1 and Release 2. In Release 2, when the unique stuff changes, there will be updates to the rewards for both raids. And I should say for all three, I guess we should say all three raids, because it's Red and Green Muspelheim and then Axis raid. So there will be reward updates, since the rewards from those are all uniques, and those aren't going to be a thing anymore. There's also crafting recipes from them that allow you to craft uniques, and so those recipes will be changing to brand new shiny items. So those who have worked their tails off to get those recipes, they will not be wasted. And so there will be new rewards coming for raids, at least. We can't really talk about any content changes to them yet, but we are looking at that.
All right. I think that's satisfied a lot of people on the Twitch chat. Thank you so much, guys. I had another.
Quite a few questions.
Yeah. I had another question regarding about, I guess, possibly expanding on the cosmic title idea. So when you prestige, getting a unique title for like Magneto or for Jean or something, maybe like a special icon. Is that possible, do you think, in the future?
Sure.
I'm not sure if you guys are the right people to ask,
Should I
but
go Kevin Durant and be like, everything's possible?
There's proposals that have been sent. We know that there's some players out there that like to just endlessly prestige.
yeah.
It's not something we're looking at doing right this second. Talents and all the other things, Infinity and all difficulty slider are on the priority for right now. But it is something we're talking about, and I wouldn't be surprised if we make a change next year.
Prestige is a weird thing. It's a good thing. I like to prestige too. But it is also the #1 blocker, or a top blocker, from us ever raising the level cap. Right?
Sort of.
Kind of.
Kind
Yeah.
of.
Like, what do you do? Let's say I'm red 60 and we raise level cap to 65. What do you do? Do you then have to re-level the other ones, the other 5 levels for the different prestiges? Do you have to? It's not.
you can
It's not
see
an
that, yeah.
unsolvable problem. It's just.
It just brings up more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we want to look we want to leave ourselves wiggle room in the future for possibly raising the level cap. I'm not committing to that, but yeah, good talk.
There was
I feel
a
like, yeah, you have a-
there was a question I saw that I just want to. I couldn't scroll through the Twitch chat to see who had asked it, but
Mhm.
it was asking about why did we do Round Goblin for the Infinity system? You get 1 point in each page in sequence. I actually answered that question on the last stream. If you can check out the previous VOD, you will have your answer.
Yeah, which is available if you just click that video button right up there. I don't know, wherever. And then, yeah, you can see the whole stream where we had both of these guys on talking at length about the changes that are coming.
MichaelMayhem just sent you on a quest.
We're actually, I think I want to show off the cool stuff that we have.
Oh, right.
And then we might pull 1 or 2 more questions, but we're reaching that time limit. So, yeah, with that, I wasn't here for when you guys revealed it. I don't know exactly when. But a new costume for a certain character. I think it's going to be available. I want to say soon.
Is his name
Soon-ish.
right with Vision?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, this is actually not a new reveal.
But it just, I guess, a nice friendly
a lot
reminder.
of people have been asking about it because we did show it. I want to say during the anniversary live stream, but
Oh, wow.
we because again, I'm a game
Question
designer.
Okay.
I'm not an expert on the costume pipe, but I know some things about it. There's a lot of work that gets done to build models, and then due to VUs or other things like mobs or whatever, like costume models that may have been built may not have been sent for approval. They don't go straight into being rigged and put on an item and sold. Sometimes we schedule those things out so we make sure that we have good costume coverage for the store for the entire year. So
I guess with that,
White Vision is the yes, or I guess we should say West Coast Avengers.
yeah, I don't think
That's the
finalized a
actual
name
name,
yet. Yeah,
yeah.
but they're still figuring a name. But when I see this, it's like, I said it was first blindingly white, but it still looks like really good. Though you can still see all the detail within his costume and suit, and the eyes just like pop. It's fantastic.
That would also could be called Westworld Vision because it looks like like when they make it. Well, whatever.
Oh,
You
okay.
guys know what I'm talking about. Who's seen it?
Yeah, I gotta watch it. But yeah, so that's coming. I think it is coming this month, right?
Yeah, this is one of the costumes that we are planning to put up this month. So
Yeah, I'm very excited.
me too.
And then also, kind of to go back on what we said with the last stream, we talked about some new team ups.
Yep.
We announced, Beast and Jubilees to team up with that, and then we also confirmed Black Bolt, and then we also announced that Medusa would be the team up.
Yep.
But with that, we actually have the model sheet to show you guys, finally. So that's very exciting. So here it is. Oop. Yeah.
Dad hair.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I think it looks
There's
really
hair,
good. Yeah.
man.
That's some serious hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't read too much of Inhumans, but the few stills I see of Medusa, it's like the hair is very reminiscent. It's always like it's like a overwhelming amount of hair. I don't know, it's kind of weird to say out loud, but I mean, like, I think artists did a really great job with this. So I'm very excited to see this and with the possibilities.
I should grow my hair out like that.
Yeah, I encourage that. And then you can roll it up into a man bun and complete the
You-
circle.
I couldn't compete. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so there's the model sheet from Medusa. We're very excited. Oh,
I'm trying to see what else we have. Do we have anything else?
oh no.
I think it's just those two.
Yeah,
Okay.
just two. Yeah. I'm playing it safe.
That is. I
Yes.
can only imagine the physics on that hair must be a nightmare
Oh,
for
man,
tech
yeah.
art people. So good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
All right, but with that, so I feel like you said you saw a question you wanted to
I
ask.
did. I saw one question I want to answer because we actually just talked about it recently internally, which was also a great name. Someone from the username Get Talented
Oh, nice.
asked about how does difficulty affect the Cosmic Trial, and that is a super awesome question. Cosmic Trial is likely, almost certainly, going to be revamped completely. We're not super happy with where it is right now, but we do like the original purpose of it. We don't want to just get rid of it because we'll be back in the same place. It was intended to gate the ability to go to super hard content that has multiplayer in it. That was kind of the reason why we wanted to make sure that if you were going to some place where you were expected to be contributing to the goals,
Mhm.
that you were at least able to do so. But it doesn't really do that job very well. Cosmic Trial is one of the things I like to bring up a lot when we talk about balance
Mhm.
and talk about the changes to mobility and a lot of other stuff, because Cosmic Trial, the only answers to it right now are be invulnerable, soak damage with the pet, or move around till you take no damage, because that's the only way we can make it hard. Like, I
Use
talked-
Pirate Deadpool to stun him.
I talked about this on the last stream, I think, but that's the kind of content we don't want. We don't want difficulty of like everything one-shots you.
Yeah.
And there's so much incoming damage that you have to use gimmicks to avoid it. The damage should come from the big telegraphs, and you want to stun a guy to get him out of the telegraph. And you want to just wipe away the trash mobs. If there's like 50 of them, then you start seeing your health bar do this, and not just 50 guys spawn. I died instantly. You should always know what beat you. You should always know what do I look for next time. And that's one of the things I want to make the Cosmic Trial do for us,
Mhm.
because that should be reflective of what the rest of the game is. And sorry, it's kind of a tirade, but
As an aside to this, I think it's very important with something like difficulty slider too, is to let players know when they're ready for the next difficulty too.
right, like it's a good personal challenge to be like, I don't know what difficulty I should go to, and you'll try out the cosmic trial if we still have one for cosmic. But let's say it's the Omega 1 trial, and you beat that and go, oh yeah, I'm able to go do that content now. Am I good enough for Omega 2? Let me try that trial. If we do that at all, by the way, I'm not saying we will. But I can do that trial and see, I'm not good enough for that, so I need to go level up. I need to go gear, learn my character more.
Try before you die.
Exactly. It's a gate. The gate has a purpose, and we want to make sure it does its job.
All right, great. So with that, I just see a lot of just fun chatter in Twitch, and we're reaching that time limit, and there's so much to do today. So I think it's safe to say we can end the stream close to now. But yeah, I want to thank so much for Ben, TheArtofRawr, for being on the live stream, for both of you taking your time again to be on the live stream, to answer questions and to be so very helpful and insightful. We do plan. I'm hoping to do another live stream before Christmas happens. Who knows what will be on? I think it'll be a lot more, once again, very casual feel, answer questions, play the game, just have fun. But yeah, there's a lot in the pipeline. We still have Test Center up, and you guys are working hard on doing bug fixes, iterations, and so keep an eye on the constant updates with that. What else? You can.
The biggest question that we get lately is,
Sure.
when is it all shipping?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the answer to this is when it's ready. Like, we talk
Fair.
about this every day, and even though I went on that whole thing before about how we always iterate after we launch and stuff like that, and there has to be a point when you just ship, where you need to ship it and you need to get it out to the most people, we know when it's ready and when it's not. And so we're talking about that every day, and we have meetings every day about the status of it, and do we think it's ready to go? Do we think it's not ready to go? How many bugs do we have left to fix, and all sorts of stuff. So we will. We're very aware of that. So once we know, we'll let you know. But in the meantime, what you can. The best way you can help us to get it to you guys faster is help find issues on Test Center,
Yeah.
give us feedback on Test Center, especially with the stuff I said before about finding encounters that may not feel fun, due to mobility changes and stuff like that. And that is the biggest help that you can do to.
That's fair. I do feel bad for the questions that we can't answer in Twitch. The questions that we had, I had like 6-7 pages of questions. Like
The
literally.
answer to all of them is yes.
Oh no. But yeah, sorry I couldn't get to those. The most important question though, I asked on the forums is, who's prettier? Is it Asros or is it MichaelMayhem? I'm gonna have to
know
go.
the answer to that.
I'm gonna have to go with Psylocke.
I would
All
agree
right.
with that.
So Psylocke is the winner. Team
His
Psylocke.
metal
there.
is very shiny.
Yeah. So with that, yeah, thanks again, guys, for watching. Really appreciate it.
Have we been on the stream?
No,
I don't know.
Oh,
Has
man.
he was.
You really should. The world needs
That's what
to
I
know.
told him. He was almost going to be here, and then we had to send him into the shop again.
Okay, well, I'll make it a goal for him to be on the live stream, at least starting next year.
The unveiling of the Psylocke 2000.
Oh yeah, we can just like put a sheet over him and just like reveal him, and then.
I'm going to put like a cardboard box.
Yeah,
around
that's
him.
what I was thinking.
I'm totally doing that.
And then under the box, he's just wearing a mask.
Oh, and then pull that mask and there's another
Another
mask.
mask, yeah.
And the sunglasses. And, okay.
That's what we do all day.
But yeah, once again, thank you so much, guys, for coming on. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Keep an eye on our social media, on our forums for our next live stream, and for just the stuff that we're constantly working on doing. But yeah, we really appreciate every one of you. I love you all. And with that, end the live stream. All right, but thanks again for watching, guys.
Bye, guys.
Mm.